on Life Radio. This is Bernadette with Dr. Jeremy Webster and Guy Mesger. That's kind of hard to say. You guys, your names kind of rhyme a little bit. And Danny Miles. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And
how's it
going? Good. Just it's a kind of a little bit of a dreary day. What is wrong with me?
How much sleep did you get last night?
A dreary day. I'll just slow down a little bit. Maybe that'll help me out. And we've got Maura Davies from the SPCA of North Texas. Good morning, Maura.
Good morning. It is kind of dreary out there, yeah.
It is. But you got to make it into a good day no matter what, right?
It's true, and the best way, I think, is to snuggle up with a pet.
Absolutely. So what's new at the SPCA this week?
Oh, we always have fun stuff going on at the SPCA of Texas. Right now, we're excited. We're gearing up for a bunch of really cool events coming up later this spring. Just to name a couple, there's Paws Cause coming up on March 3rd, and then Strut Your Mutt coming up on April 28th. So awesome, fun stuff, all at our website at spca.org.
And how many people participate in that in the DFW area?
Well, Strut Your Mutt is huge. We had well over 1,000 people in pooches last year, and we're hoping to have lots and lots more people this year. It's at Fair Park, and it's always such a blast. I mean, of course, if the weather cooperates. One year it snowed.
Oh, wow. And I bet you see the most ridiculous costumes, don't you?
They're so fun, and really the pets are so cute. People bring their pet strollers to walk their pets in so the pets don't have to actually walk.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Hey, you wouldn't want to do that.
Would they be chubby pets?
Maybe.
So
April 27th. Sorry, so the 28th.
Okay, good. What else is up? I wanted, you and I spoke earlier in the week, and one of the things that I would like to talk about today, just to acknowledge it and ask people to reach out and help this organization. It is Dallas. It's seniorpets.org, and it's an organization that helps people that are on a budget, a restricted budget, elderly people, to provide them with health care for their animals and food, because oftentimes they don't have the money to even feed their pets. Mm-hmm. And they have a wonderful little cookbook called Recipes and Collections. You can get it at Jimmy's Food Store, Fine Italian Food and Wine, right here in Dallas. They've been open for 45 years. The DiCarlo family have been operating it for 45 years. That's something in itself. And it's at 4901 Bryan Street at Fitzhugh. And they have this wonderful little cookbook, and the money goes to help the seniors that have and their pets to take care of them.
That's so cool.
It is cool, isn't it?
Yes.
And such a simple idea.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Well, yeah, and there are programs out there that do so much good. This is one of them that it's a specific, wonderful thing that is a huge help.
Yeah, it really is. There's not enough like that. But, for anybody out there listening, you want to start an organization like that in Fort Worth or wherever, think about it. There's so many people out there that need help with their pets, and so let's talk about why there's so many people out there that need help with their pets, because we all love animals, or most of us do, and there's such an overpopulation because of the spay and neutering that doesn't take place, and there's so many pets out there that need homes.
Yes. Oh, definitely. No, there are so many pets out there that don't need homes. That I always talk about this. I think it's so worth saying over and over again. The only way that every single pet in this country would have a home is that if every American, that's babies up to age 75, would adopt 7 animals a day every single day of their whole lives.
Wow.
It's a big thing. And so, yes, spaying and neutering pets is so important. There are all kinds of myths surrounding spay and neuter. We talked about some last week, but really it's healthier for pets to be neutered as early as they can be, as your veterinarian guides you. It doesn't change their personality. Pets that gain a lot of weight after surgery are probably not moving around much.
And we did talk. You shocked me last week at how early they actually do it. I had no idea they do it that young.
They do, definitely. It's
kind of become necessary, I guess, before you put them out there into the wild world. That even if you adopt them out, because sometimes things happen in a family and you don't get to it right away. Next thing you know, your cat or your dog is pregnant. So
exactly. Well, and what we're seeing in the community is that people are waiting to have their cats spayed or neutered until the cats are about a year old, and people are waiting to have their dogs spayed or neutered until the dogs are about 2 years old, and that is way too much time for those guys to have babies. Oh, my goodness.
Well, and some of the behavior that goes along with that is not cool either. It's no fun to have a cat in heat in your house, I can assure you of that.
Ew.
So
male cat spraying is the most disgusting thing in the world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I have a female cat that's getting spayed next week. Actually, both my new kitten and my other one are both getting spayed at the same time next week. So
good.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what we.
Well, the other thing that we were talking about was how important pets are to seniors. That a program like this would help seniors have a better, longer life. There's so many amazing things that pets do for everybody, and also for senior people, not just senior pets for senior people. Any pet that's going to be great for a senior or any person.
It's great companionship.
Yeah.
It's protection. A home is less likely to be broken into and victimized if there's an animal in the house. Everybody knows it. A nice dog. I'm looking at Guy. Guy has a nice dog.
Our dog passed away.
Oh no, bad subject. Sorry, Guy.
Yeah, we
I forgot about
Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
I forgot.
And I mean, it's been traumatic for my kids, so we're actually going to hold off a little bit before we get another animal on it, just because I want the children to be more active in it, and understand it. Because, they lost their grandfather and their 2 dogs in the last 3 years. And so it's been hard to explain the whole happy hunting ground to them, about this stuff. So
it's a great example, though, for a pet. I mean, to use pets to teach children about death and the process and grief.
Responsibility.
And responsibility, too. Exactly.
I think it's an awesome opportunity, because the connection the same connection you get with your children has little to do with just birthing them. It's the whole idea of of nursing them, holding them, watching them grow, protect them, lead them on their way. That's the connection. It's the same thing with animals. I mean, that's how they become part of your life. And I think it's an absolute important part for people in their development, emotional development, and children. You want them. I was, it sounds bad. I was relieved to see them upset about the passing away of their animals and stuff, because it shows that they're connected where they needed to be connected. And I think that is, like I said, in a world of disconnect that we have, when we can actually sit at the dinner table and text each other instead of talk, having those connections and teaching our children connections like that is important. And I think animals are a wonderful way to doing that, because you're learning responsibility, taking care of them. You're learning the consequences that come with not doing that, the consequences. And listen, we have a lot of great lessons are taught in pain. In fact, most important ones usually are, and they need to have an understanding of this at at an
early age.
I think so.
Well spoken, well put, very well put, and it's true. Yesterday, my little girl, her little frog or toad that she stole out of the woods at her school and brought home in her pocket. She had Hoppy for about 3.5 months, and it passed away. And, I had to break the news to her, and she cried, but it's a good thing. It means she, like you said, there was a connection. She felt responsibility and respect for that animal's life, and that's a good thing. So, yeah, it's all good.
It is. And animals need us. We domesticated them. They need us to help them.
Yeah.
They neuter them, care for them, and as you said, what an amazing lesson to teach children how to care for others.
Absolutely. Danny, you've got 2 cats. What are your cats' names, Danny, anyway?
Come on. Get off of that. I'm a dog person that just happens to have cats because they're just...
You can tell us, Danny. People love you no matter what.
Danny, we don't judge.
No judging here.
I'm comfortable in my own skin.
We're real open with everybody's lifestyle.
So,
it's all right.
What's your cat's name? Fluffy and what?
No, it's... Marquette and Madison.
Whoa! Those are pretty sophisticated names, Mr. Miles.
My 2 colleges.
Oh, cool.
Madison as in University of Wisconsin and Marquette University.
Oh, how cool is that?
So there.
That's awesome.
Is that where you completed your studies, or like me, did you get kicked out of both those schools? Like my first foray in college, I got kicked out of both colleges.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, you ever see Tommy Boy? He went to Marquette. That was basically me. I got a D. I passed. Shnikes, I passed.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, you guys are killing me. All right. Well, Maura, thank you so much for being with us. And, again, I ask everybody to reach out and buy that cookbook at Jimmy's Food Store. Fine Italian food and wine. Great Italian family here in Dallas. You are listening to One Life Radio. We'll be back after the break with Guy Mesker, 5-time world champion, and Dr. Jeremy Webster.
This is Tom O'Brien.
Welcome back to One Life Radio here on 1190. This is Bernadette with Dr. Jeremy Webster and Dr. Jeremy Webster and Guy Mesger. There I go again. You guys, there's so much to talk about. One of the things that I want to bring up first.
Soon to be Dr. Mesger, right?
Soon to be Dr. Mesger, yeah.
A
couple years out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got to kind of get busy to do that, but yeah.
Yeah, so...
you have to earn it.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
You're welcome to say that, but let me earn it before I get...
That's like soon-to-be world champion Dr. Webster. After breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would take some training, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a completely different thing.
Oh, my God. Well, so when Dr. Webster and I were walking into the studio earlier, we saw this thing on the counter that looked like I thought someone threw up on the table.
It's in a plastic wrap.
It's in a plastic wrap, and it looked like someone threw up into this plastic wrap.
Yeah, they were passing them around yesterday.
It's pink. It has brown chunks in it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna taste it live right now.
Okay.
It is.
Oh, by the way, it's not throw up. Just so everybody, she's not actually.
Yeah.
We're pretty sure
Not throw up. No.
She doesn't know who it came from. She's just gonna try it.
I didn't even have the guts to touch it, and Bernadette was like,
"Oh yeah,
I want to see what it is. I want to taste it."
Looks like fiberglass.
Well, basically, this is what you have in your hand there, and what you're tasting. They're testing it at the Texas Motor Speedway.
Well, I'm just going to tell you this. They're going to sell the hell out of it. Okay?
Is that bad?
It's not bad. I'm just saying. I shouldn't promote
you think
stuff that's not healthy.
The NASCAR contingency will like
I think that they're going to knock the ball out of the park with this one.
It's redneck written all over it, doesn't it?
Hog having bacon cotton candy.
Bacon,
you couldn't eat
candy.
anything worse for you if you tried, but I have to say, you sure you don't? Come on.
No.
One little tiny.
I'm not going to try it. I'm just
come
curious
on.
if it's even like real
you two
bacon.
prissy pants. Come on.
Yeah, it's probably the bacon bits that you get.
Yeah, I'm like sitting there going, it doesn't even look like real bacon on top of everything. And if you guys saw this, it is amazingly unattractive looking.
It is unattractive.
I mean, you gotta put a lot
Have
of
you
side
been to a
to eat
NASCAR
this.
event?
One little tiny pinch. Come on, guy.
No,
what's it gonna hurt?
To be honest, it's not even sugar, guys. Then that's the other thing too. It's not even the idea of sugars and whatnot that does, which is heinous enough for you. But everything else to make cotton candy is like the sugar is the least of your worries. They actually use the mechanism that spins that is like formaldehyde.
Well,
which we used to use to preserve dead bodies. I'm not really sure how that's going to be good on everything. So, you're looking at when the sugar in here is the least of your worries, then you got a really bad product.
Well,
Dr. Webster, they're going to have it's just going to be a matter of time where you have gluten-free and all natural on the label of cotton candy.
Sure, organic.
Organic cotton candy.
Fat-free?
There you go.
It's not fat-free with the bacon. But
it depends. It could be the artificial bacon that's fat-free.
Yeah, there you go.
well, could be.
Nothing but MSG and chemicals.
That's got to be good
Hey,
for you.
speaking of which, real quickly, visited a friend of mine in the hospital yesterday, and in the cancer ward. They came out with their food for lunch. I wish I had my camera, wish I had my phone to take a picture. Unbelievable. This is a hospital. And it was turkey
pudding
with, you had apple tort and a coffee cake. You had this, what they call stuffing. It's kind of like, you go to a diner or something like that for Thanksgiving, and they have that processed turkey with the dressing, probably instant mashed potatoes, but it was mashed potatoes and the dressing, this clump of dressing. And I'm like thinking, you're in a hospital and they're serving that.
It should be criminal. It's
in a big white bun.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
and everything you just described is exactly the type of diet you would eat if you wanted to promote cancer.
I don't understand.
Everything that turns to sugar.
Yeah,
everything that turns to sugar.
Yeah, it's raised insulin levels has been directly linked to agitating cancer.
Sure.
It doesn't cause it, but it causes the cancer that you have to grow at an unbelievable rate. So what they basically did is they said, "Hey, you're on fire. Let me help you put it out by throwing gasoline on it." I mean, that's basically what they did.
The salad was iceberg lettuce.
Oh, of course.
And the only thing that
pesticide.
And the only thing that
water,
I guess would be healthy was the green beans.
You guess.
Yeah,
But there's probably sugar in the green beans too.
We've touched on that
and
before.
bacon.
Yeah, preserve it. Yeah.
Well, we've touched on iceberg lettuce before, but a lot of people really don't realize. Tell us what's up with iceberg lettuce.
Well, when you look at it, first of all, it has no color. The good thing about dark green lettuce, your romaine, your spinach, your kale, The dark green is the good part about it. That means it has chlorophyll, it has antioxidants, it has bioflavonoids, it has all the good things is in that green color. Iceberg lettuce has almost nothing in it. It's just it's just a chunk of nothing. Yeah, they use tons of pesticide on it.
I don't even think you can buy organic iceberg lettuce.
I don't know why you would want to even bother.
I don't think you can.
The only thing that you could use like a healthy, iceberg lettuce would be just if you were just needed extra fiber and cellulose or something like that, because it does have a little bit of that. But again, you can eat celery for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, which actually has, the juice in the celery actually has a really good effect on your body for fat burning and things too.
Yeah, it has
magnesium, right?
Well, nice anti-inflammatory effect. Yeah. There's a lot of good properties to celery.
Yeah.
But no, not iceberg lettuce.
And generally the thing about with eating celery, most people, is that it actually takes more calories to consume than what you get from it. And so, that's one of the reasons why they, the joke in the old 70s would they, you're on carrot sticks and celery. Well, the reality is, you're on celery because, it fills this need to eat something and it fills you up. But it actually burns more calories to consume it than it does put into your body. It all became kind of a sitcom joke, but that really there was a reason behind it.
Well, we all need to eat better. That the bacon cotton candy is an excellent reason to talk about this. It really, really is. That there's going to be thousands and thousands of people consuming that next weekend at the Texas Motor Speedway. It's so bad for you. And I was thinking, how many kids are going to be eating that? How many kids that are already fat are going to be sitting around eating that with their parents? It's just crazy to me.
Let me just also explain something that people don't get too is even if you're not fat, but you have a constant, you're constantly spiking your insulin, you still have the same issues. You still can, you don't, being fat is just an indicator of type 2 diabetes, but you can be skinny and have type 2 diabetes because you're just completely shut down your sensitivity to insulin. And that comes from just shooting it up. And there are a lot of kids that are skinny because they play, on 4 soccer leagues. And then they get home, they sit down, they eat, cookies and Gatorade.
Right.
Well, and this is a great time to segue into what we wanted to talk about today, is that overeating in children may be linked to drug use as well.
Can you believe that?
No.
And I think what's happening is when you eat
munchies for
when
kids?
you eat too much, and especially you eat the foods that the guy's talking about that spike your insulin, which is basically just your breads and your flour products and your sugar products. It doesn't matter whether it's Gatorade, whether it's soda pop, your insulin levels spike anytime you eat a high carb food. Yeah. When you do that, you basically flood your brain with dopamine for one, and other chemicals too, serotonin. And a lot of other chemicals, but you flood yourself with dopamine, and that's a lot of the reason why people feel like they like to eat sugary foods is because it gives them a dopamine rush.
Makes them feel good.
The problem is when you flood your brain with dopamine, that dopamine has to come from somewhere. So you're basically using up all of your dopamine, and then you become depleted in dopamine, and then you feel like, oh, I need more sugar, or I need more bread, or I need more something. And what happens later in life is the kids realize they can get their hands on something that, well, it boosts their dopamine levels a lot quicker and a lot easier than sugar, and that's cocaine or meth or whatever it might be. So they become very prone to that type of problem.
There's actually a study that's linking processed carbohydrates. Well, a lot of people don't understand this too, and you actually. It's the same part of the brain that's affected by cocaine addiction and heroin addiction is the same as having a sugar addiction. It's the same spot. The difference is that we reinforce it. I mean, we don't reinforce the heroin habit quite as much. I mean, I got mine down to a once a week, but I don't know about the rest of you guys. But the fact is that we have a carb habit all the time. So you're reinforcing that habit thousands and thousands of times more than you would a drug habit. So it's actually tougher for a lot of people to beat. And then so what we're teaching, we're already we're already getting our children already ready for the idea of being addicted to something else because it's already part of the function that's going on with the sugar function that they have.
And that goes right back to what we talk about a lot, which is eating nutritious foods. It's not always about getting the bad foods out, which that's a piece of it. But if you're not eating nutritious foods, you don't have any of the chemicals or the raw material, the nutrients that your brain needs to rebuild its own natural dopamine,
the reserve of
dopamine levels.
Okay.
Yeah, that comes specifically from an amino acid, tyrosine, to vitamins and minerals to help your brain convert tyrosine into dopamine. So if you're not eating a very nutritious diet and or supplements on top of that, you're not going to be able to rebuild your dopamine. Therefore, you're going to feel like you have a dopamine depletion or dopamine deficiency. And then you're going to turn to drugs because that's the only way, not to make you feel high, but just to make you feel normal in a lot of cases. That's the only thing you think you can do.
And of course, my mind is going right to this. There's got to be a connection between this and the increasing rates of depression in this country.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You deplete
sugar,
sugar,
bad sleep, stress, all of it depletes your serotonin.
Actually, I'm kind of cracking up on this one connection. They said that said, they were saying how there's a connection between the bad habits and marijuana and the onset and the use of other drugs, but there seems to be no binge eating when it comes to binge drinking. So everyone's like thinking, I can still have that. But the ridiculousness part about that is, who needs to binge eat when you just slam, a case of beer and you still shoot your insulin levels up? Not only do you do that, but you're cutting down your leptin and raising your uric acid levels like through the roof. I'm like, that's such a deceptive thing. It's like, it's okay to drink because it's not going to cause you to eat like marijuana, but the drinking itself is going to do exactly what eating McDonald's is going to do to them.
Well, we're going to talk more about it right after the break. You are listening to One Life Radio. You have been listening to, I almost called you doctor again, to Guy Mesker, five-time world.
Get in the habit of that.
All right, I will, sir.
And world champion Dr. Webster.
Okay, and so Guy Mesker, you can find him at guymesker.com, ohsmedical.com, and Dr. Jeremy Webster at CompleteHealthDallas.com. That's CompleteHealthDallas.com. We will be back right after the break.
Sweet from my hand to my feet, yeah. Winning 50.
Welcome back to One Life Radio here on 1190. This is Bernadette with Dr. Jeremy Webster and Guy Mesker and Danny Miles. You guys, okay, I'm all mixed up today, but we'll just get through this, right?
I'm not
Friday.
a doctor.
I didn't,
We'll make it through.
I'm not the doctor.
You know what? I didn't get my
mixed up, doctor?
and I'm not making excuses for myself, but I did not get my workout in yesterday because I worked until almost midnight last night, and I did not get to work out. There was just a lot.
Can you not do push-ups?
Huh?
There's no excuse.
I know
She does
there
burpees
isn't.
all the time.
I do burpees all the time, but yesterday was just. This has just been a crazy week, and so you're gonna have. So for what I'm giving all the people out there, the excuse that once in a while, yes, you do have days where you can't work out. I mean, I just couldn't.
This is the problem with giving anybody an excuse of anything. If you said, hey, I learned this from Larry North. Larry used to harp 100%, 100%, 100%. And and the reason being is, if you harp 100%, they might get 50 of it right.
That's true.
So if you say,
and I
hey,
love
man,
Larry.
if you get 50% of this right, that means that gives them license to only try 10% of it. So,
but you are going to have days like that once in a while, though. You are, and you have to forgive yourself.
Do you
but it
plan
does.
on working out every single day?
I usually do, even if it's just 100 burpees a day.
Do you, Guy?
yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
7
Every day.
days a
I
week.
do, because it makes my brain and my body just function better.
There's also a way to do it. Like, my neck has been injured, so as you can see, I've dropped a lot of weight, so the muscle's gone off me, because I got to restructure how I do my workouts to strengthen this neck. And so I can't do a lot of really super strenuous thing on my neck. So what I do is I'll do 2 pull-ups, 2 push-ups, 4 lunges. I'll do a back bend where I walked up and down the wall, do a complete back arch like that. I'll do that, but I'll do that 30 times during the day.
That's great.
So it ends up keeping my strength up without overdoing. And that's what I tell a lot of people. It helps keep the metabolism going. Your resting metabolic rate up higher if you already got a high one. It won't kickstart one if it's not already high, but it keeps one that's going, keeps it going high. You never overdo it. You're never overstressing. Your nervous system never gets overworked, but it keeps getting the work ins.
So you don't buy the idea of just having complete rest days?
Well, I consider those active rest days. Those
Okay.
are I'm convinced, that we're never, the problem is with rest days is most people consider that sitting on the couch and doing something like that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's actually, they show how that's actually bad for you. Working rest, and of course a working rest is one that does not tax your nervous system, and it could be just walking, but when you work out really hard, your lymphatic system collects a lot of the poisons and lactic acid and stuff like that. And if you don't work that out by movement, and movement's really the only thing that kind of does it. Like, they used to have that little mini trampoline thing. It was always like a joke. That's actually good for your lymphatic system. It helps get everything moving out of your thing. So like jumping 5 minutes on that's actually good. Get up and walk and get up and do stuff. So yeah, rest days are you got to really kind of question, what is a rest day?
Well, and my point is, I'm sluggish today. My brain is sluggish, not just my body, because I didn't get to do it yesterday. A lot of stress, working really hard, didn't get my workout in, and I'm paying for it today. Going to get in the gym.
You've had a lot of stress lately.
I have. But you know what? Everybody does.
Did you tell people on the air about the flood at the place?
No.
But it's already fixed, though.
It's fixed.
We're good.
We opened today at noon, but we had a flood Sunday night at a drift, and it shut the place down for 4.5 days.
So I can't even imagine the kind of stress, because you're panicking. It's like every second you're not open.
Yeah.
That's money out of your pocket. So you just had to work around the clock.
Well, and then I had a deposition that day too. On top of it, the day that I
Awesome.
got
Perfect
time.
You
And I've
know what, though?
never had that. But you know what? I'm stronger.
In a good mood. Yeah, I was saying.
I'm stronger.
You get
It's
a
okay.
deposition. It's probably going in with a little pissy is not bad in most depositions.
Yeah. That's what someone told me, to go in a little PO'd.
Yeah.
I think how good next week's going to be.
You know.
I got a question for you
Next week's
guys.
going to be a great week.
Yeah, exactly. How could it? Yeah. So, but you know what? It's true. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It really, really does. I'm glad I had both experiences. I learned a lot from both of them, and I'm still standing.
Well, and I tell you what, when it happened earlier this week, you still came in with a smile on your face.
Thank you,
and
Danny.
But I thought to myself, if that was me, I would be. It would ruin my day. It would ruin my week.
Well, you have to put things in perspective. I've had a gun held to my head several times throughout the years of building both of my former companies, and so when that happens,
Several times.
you just take things in stride.
I thought I had a rough upbringing.
I know.
So, you want to start a business?
Yeah. Who are your business partners? Are they Italian or something? I mean, come on, what's going on?
Yeah, you started Long Island or something, or Jersey?
No, Pleasant Grove in the 80s. Yeah, in the late 80s, which wasn't so pleasant. There was an armed robbery every single night, and it usually
Still is.
And back then there was the fatality from that was just the what do you call it, the come on, guys, help me out here.
I don't know.
The-
Where are you at?
Where are you going?
Yeah, where are you going with this?
The number of people that died.
The mortality rate.
There you go,
Yeah.
the mortality rate.
Okay.
Thank you very mumuch, Dr. Webster. Yeah, the mortality rate, it was just insane. I mean, there was people getting shot and killed like every other night. Someone died in an armed robbery back in the 80s. It was it was a very high crime rate back then, and a lot of people lost their lives that were business owners.
See, now this is a question for Jill and Tina too. The last couple of weeks, I'm on the verge of making a purchase and buying one of those, buying a stationary bike, but the ones that you see in the spin classes. And I found one that I like. It's about $1,000.
You haven't bought it yet.
Well, this is
I
a
haven't
great
bought it yet.
segue into
So
what
my
we want to
question-
talk about.
Yeah, my question to you guys: waste of money?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Unless you're going to really sprint with it.
We're-
It's-
Yeah.
And I've got to tell you one other thing about stationary bike. Don't buy the recumbent bikes. Guy, I don't know if you disagree.
Yeah.
That puts your neck in a terrible position because you're leaning back when you do it, and you have to pull with your neck muscles, pull your neck forward into a very poor posture, and you'll develop neck problems because of that.
A recumbent bike is an intense. It's not designed for intensity. It's designed for people who are just going to like loll on it to kind of use as a warm up. It's a very expensive, piece of machinery that you can do if you just want to walk and do high leg lifts.
There is a much cheaper piece of equipment out there that you can sprint on.
Yeah.
Much cheaper, much better.
The X-Sizer. I have one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go check it
I'll
out.
give him a
Check
free-
it out on my website.
Yeah.
Check it out on my website. It's a great piece of equipment for a third of the cost.
See, I enjoy
And it's
spin.
small.
I
You can put it in a
enjoy
very
spin
small
classes.
space. Well, and this is a great segue into what we want to talk about. There was a CNN health news report, and this was the title of the story. And I just can't. And Dr. Webster actually brought it in. You guys are going to have you're going to have a field day with this too. Cardio burns more fat than weightlifting. Let's talk about it.
Well,
Come on, guys.
Agree or disagree?
I was say, the problem with this is that they didn't really kind of go into the parameters of their weightlifting. All they basically said is that they had people doing 45 minutes of aerobics, and then they had people lifting weights for 45 minutes. The problem is that I don't lift weights for 45 minutes.
No, I don't either.
My strength training
Me
is
either.
not 45 minutes. It's about 20, 25 minutes. And the ridiculousness of this is simply this, is that even Dr. Cooper, who coined the term aerobics, has had to back off on the fact that it's not the best way to lose weight. The only time that you're burning fat when you're aerobic, okay, and I understand what aerobics means. It means working out and still staying within your oxygen threshold. So, if people don't understand what that means, being able to talk while you're doing what you're doing, okay? The only fat burn you get, and then providing you're actually in a fat burn state, most people don't even burn fat, they just burn the sugar in their body. But let's say you're in a fat burning state there. The only time that you're burning fat is when you're doing that exercise. The moment that you stop, it stops.
Yeah.
Okay? And people go to me all the time. They go, hey, how can I not be burning, fat? I burn 400 calories doing an hour of aerobics. Well, if they sat on the couch, they burn 300.
Yeah.
So what is the best on your time? The interval types training, and which generally can be weightlifting, but it can be sprinting and stuff like that. They showed, Dr. Tabata showed that 12 minutes of work one time a week versus 5 1 hour aerobic sessions burned an average of over 30% more fat, 30% more, and it's this is an average, 30% more muscle gain and heart expulsion, which is how hard your heart gets blood out of the thing, which is is generally your thing is.
And
was better.
We talk about burst training all the time on this show, and I know it works for me, and it works well.
Sure. Let me explain a little bit more about what he said here, because people are going to argue. They're going to look at the facts of what aerobic training does, and it does burn some fat versus quick high-intensity sprint training doesn't burn that much fat. But we're not talking about how much fat you burn during the exercise itself. That's actually very insignificant. You only work out 1 hour maybe every day or 1 hour every other day. That means you have 23 or maybe even 47 hours when you're not exercising. And when you do aerobic training and you do that fat-burning style training, which means you stay aerobic, that means you don't burn fat very well at all for the rest of that up to about 40 hours later. But if you do the burst training that we always talk about, where you're feeling a lot of muscle burn and you're actually frying a lot of sugar out of your system, that kicks your body over into a fat-burning zone. So you burn fat for that next 40 hours. And that should be your goal, is to increase your fat burning for 40 hours rather than that 30 or 45 minutes that you exercise.
And your glucose receptor sites on the muscles when you working on them in an anaerobic fashion will basically, for people to know, that's like, think about catch pockets on the muscles, right? When the nutrients come in, it goes straight to the muscles versus going to the fat. So not only are you burning more fat long term, but when you eat, it goes to where it needs to go versus around your waist.
There you go.
And that lasts an hour and a half after. I mean, there's a little bit of argument on how long it does. We got guys that say it lasts up to 3 hours after a hard workout. I think it kind of somewhere in the middle, about an hour and a half after, you probably are in the safe zone for that.
After the break, I want to touch on this a little bit more, because I want people to think about whether this is good for a diabetic or not.
Absolutely.
Putting your body into a fat-burning state rather than a sugar-burning state. It's going to surprise you when we talk about the truth about this.
All right. You are listening to One Life Radio here on 1190. This is Bernadette with Dr. Jeremy Webster and Guy Mesger. Danny Miles. We'll be back right after the break.
I dig this, baby. You don't care for me. I don't care about that. You got a new food. I'd like to laugh at.
Rooftop birds I'm feeding, no deceiving, nothing up my sleeve, no teasing. I need you to get up on the dance floor. Get that man what he asking for. 'Cause I feel like busting loose and I feel like touching you. And can't nobody stop the juice. So baby, tell me what's the use? I said it's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
What a great mix, Danny. Bee Gees and what's the first song there? That was awesome.
Stereo MCs.
Oh, was that Stereo? No, yeah, okay.
You're talking about I Wanna Go.
No, not that song. Who's this mix
Nelly.
right now? Nelly, okay.
That's Nelly.
Yeah, Nelly.
Hot in here.
Wow, and the Bee Gees. That's a cool mix. All right, you are listening to One Life Radio here on 1190. This is Bernadette, and I'm in studio with Dr. Jeremy Webster and Guy Mesger. And right before the break, we were talking about whether or not cardio burns more fat than weightlifting. It's a CNN Health report, which segued into a discussion about diabetes and the connection there. So, Dr. Webster, let's talk about that.
Right. We talked about the burst training and how I said by doing burst training where you force your body to go into that that burning stage where you're producing a lot of lactic acid, how that basically trains your body to be a more efficient fat burner for the rest of the day, actually up to 40 hours later. And that's what we want to shoot for, is to make ourselves an efficient fat burning machine all day, every single day. Not so much worry about how much fat you burn during your exercise session, but how much do you burn all the time. You'll lose a lot more weight that way, a lot more fat anyway.
That happens for a couple reasons. Is it one of the reasons? Because, and I've always heard this, because muscle burns more calories than fat.
Well, yes. That's a piece of it, but specifically when you're doing that training, like let's say you jump on the exerciser machine, like I talked to Danny about. When you do that, within 20 seconds, your quads and your glutes are on fire. You're burning like crazy. That means you're making a lot of lactic acid in those muscles. That also means you're 100% burning sugar at that point. You can't burn anything other than sugar when you start making lactic acid. That's just how the metabolism works. So that means, since you're burning sugar during exercise, you will burn fat preferentially during the rest of the day and the following day. So the question that I had going into the break was, since that's making you a fat burner rather than a sugar burner, is that good for a diabetic? And the truth is, it's the best thing you can possibly do if you're a diabetic, because diabetics, they don't oftentimes even have the problem of consuming too much sugar. I mean, they do initially. That's what drives them into diabetes. But oftentimes they can completely revamp their diet and go completely sugar-free, completely wheat-free, completely grain-free. They're consuming no carbohydrates whatsoever. But since their body is so dependent on sugar, what they do is they end up breaking muscle tissue down and turning that into sugar to constantly feed their sugar frenzy that their body's on. They're trying to get energy somehow, and the only thing they can use is sugar.
Well, and going on a wheat-free diet does not have to be painful. We've proved that this week and last week by this new cookbook that's come out, and I'm sure there's more than one. Wheat Belly Cookbook. There's 150 recipes in this book. We've tried several of them so far.
They're good.
They're delicious.
They're good.
Delicious and good for you.
I just wanted to kind of follow up on one thing too. And when people are using the majority of their energy in a fat burning, it's much more efficient, just on a cellular level. Okay, but it also, when your resting metabolic rate, and that's really what he's talking about. How much energy are you burning when you're not exercising? That needs to be raised. And then basically, you want to think about your body. It's recovering, and so it gets on fire to recover. You don't really recover from aerobics. So when your body's on fire covering aerobics, you're using all that energy to heal the muscles. And not only does that make you stronger and healthier and leaner, but it improves your immune system. Your body actually gets a stronger immune system, especially if you're eating good foods, because it's used to that response. And it's just like, okay, it's in this healing state and it's on fire. So when your resting metabolic rate is a higher rate, your immune system tends to be in a much higher rate. So you're not getting sick. So you can maintain, your fat loss program.
There's really nothing I've ever looked at as far as health goes that doesn't benefit from this type of exercise. It decreases your triglycerides if you have high triglycerides. It decreases your blood sugar if you have high blood sugar. It decreases inflammation if you have high inflammation. It makes your hormones more, let's say, desirable.
Hormony.
More. let's just say it puts your hormones in a better balance.
Is that what you said? Hormy?
He said Moni.
It makes you more muscular. It makes you burn fat more efficiently. I haven't seen anything that this is not good for compared to other type of exercise. And it takes less time than other types of exercise.
It takes less time, but it feels good to work your body that hard. It's so lame. You get on a treadmill and you just walk, or run or whatever. It just it doesn't give you that I don't know, that burst, that energy, just feeling like you're working your body really, really, really hard.
And you get not only a physical boost in your body as far as pumping your blood. We always think about exercise. You need to exercise to pump your blood. It'll make you feel good. Well, when you exercise really, really hard and you move your joints really rapidly like that, you're sending a lot of stimulation to your brain from your joints. And when you do that, that's another reason why you're going to feel so good, is because your brain is going to be more healthy after a rapid or an aggressive exercise session than when you're just strolling along and not really doing anything that stimulating.
You're talking about burst training. I see those shake weight commercials, and they look like they're really
the shake
they're spent.
The shake
the
what
shake
commercials?
weight. Don't you remember the shake weight?
Shake weight.
It's a extremely phallic looking kind of device that I have no idea. The marketing on that was genius. All I can say is,
hey, you mentioned something earlier, and for us people like me, the D students, you mentioned carbohydrates, and you mentioned processed carbohydrates. For us stupid listeners out there, I'm speaking for myself on this. What's the difference? What is it? What is a processed carbohydrate opposed to legumes or something like that?
Pick a grain of wheat out of the field.
Okay.
That's still wheat. It still has gluten in it, but it's not processed. You put it through a mill and you grind it and you bleach it and you strip all the fiber and you strip all the vitamins and minerals out of it. Well, then it's a very, very highly processed flour. Same thing with sugar. You go get sugar cane out of the field. It's still sugar. It's still not the greatest thing for you in the world. But then you grind it and refine it and bleach it and all that. Now it's a white sugar, so that's a refined processed carbohydrate.
Just to show you the difference between like the sugar thing. Sugar cane has been used for years and years, and the natives that do it, they'd break off sugar cane and suck on it. When studies were done, they didn't have diabetes, they didn't have tooth decay, and they weren't fat. And it's just the difference because, nature has, like I said, I tell people, if you just eat good foods, you eat natural foods, nothing processed, your body will correct itself. You may go through some withdrawals, and actually I'm not kidding. You may have some physical withdrawals, but if you can get through those physical withdrawals, your body will regulate itself. It's a wonderful machine. It'll do that. You'll lose the weight because you're not artificially, throwing your brain chemistry off and with the processed too much sugar and stuff. Your body will do itself. So when this is a really easy thing, and I tell people all the time, especially if you have a problem with carbohydrates. If you can't kill it and eat it, and you can't pick it up and eat it, don't eat it. All right, that's simple.
It's a good simple rule.
It's a simple rule. If you can't pick, you can pick. You can pick squash. You can pick spinach. You can shoot a deer. You can shoot a cow. You can eat those. But if you can't do it, if it comes in a bag, we don't shoot bags. You know what I mean? If it comes in a bag, it's probably not good for you. If it comes in a can, we don't hunt those and we don't pick those up off, we don't pick those out of the trees.
Now, where do potatoes fall into this category, though?
Well, potatoes is an interesting one because potatoes are one that you have to eat with a certain amount of caution. And it also kind of depends on your genetic makeup and where you are. Now, if you're a heavy-set guy who wants to lose weight, potatoes are going to be tough on you.
Yeah, I think Guy and I would probably, I'm sure you would agree, the general advice that you give is not the most specific advice. If you can pick it, you can pick a potato and you can pick sugar cane. You still wouldn't recommend people eat sugar cane and potatoes all day long. So there's a balance here. Yeah, a little bit of moderation.
Also,
and,
too, the thing is that if you can eat
yourself.
Most of your vegetable, most of the stuff you can pick, if you can eat it raw. That's the other thing too. If you can eat it raw, you can't eat a potato raw, but you can eat spinach raw. You can eat carrots raw. You can eat just about every good vegetable that they all eat raw. You can eat raw. So that
makes sense. Yeah.
So that kind of makes it easier too. And then some, but actually, to be honest, eating raw is good. But also there are some that actually benefit from cooking, and there are some from
tomatoes, for example.
Yeah, and also from like a really great thing for a lot of people, especially if they're not accustomed to eating a lot of vegetables, is to put them in your blender, get and a little bit of water and stuff, and blend it up and make a shake out of it like that, because actually breaking the cells of the releases a lot of the deals, and it makes it easier for people, especially if you're not accustomed to it. Because a lot of people eat so much processed sugar that their enzymes in their bodies can't handle the good stuff.
They lose the ability to break down real food.
They have a hard time. So really, if you're like a sugar junkie, you really have to get pancreatic enzymes and put those in there too to help out.
Well, and sugar's hidden in so many things. Dressings, breads, pastas. You name it.
Anything that ends in
peanut butter's got sugar in it. Huh?
Any ingredient in the list that ends in OSE, OS, like sucrose, fructose, dextrose, those are all sugar. They don't say sugar, but if it says OS, something OS, it's a sugar.
It says corn. See, the thing is, too, is they're using cornstarch, all this other stuff to use as preservatives, as fillers and stuff like that. And they don't have to call that sugar, but it is. That's exactly what it is. It just breaks down into sugar.
And it's hard on the body.
Yeah, corn is another one that you can't eat raw.
The problem with corn too, guys, is corn is almost all of it's GMO'd now. You know what I mean? And they don't have to tell you. So when you're looking at something that's processed, and they'll put like cornstarch in it, and they use that as a preservative and a filler, flavor filler, it's probably GMO'd. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with it, So you're looking at something that might have been good, but then they just do a GMO product. And I don't care what anybody says. The GMOs, they actually have studies that show that it causes these issues, but it's not being talked about. It's ridiculous that I don't care. You want a GMO, your product's great, but they should put it on there. Boom, GMO'd.
And-
so I know because I don't want it in my body.
Yeah, and nobody does talk about it. Genetically modified. We did a show on that. We should do another one on all the genetically modified foods. This is One Life Radio. You have been listening to Guy Mesger and Dr. Jeremy Webster. You can find Dr. Webster, there I go again, at CompleteHealthDallas.com. That's CompleteHealthDallas.com. And you can find Guy Mesger at GuyMesger.com or OHSMedical.com, or visit him at Guy Mesger's Combat Sports Club in Addison. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. Get out there today. It's Friday. It may be a dreary day, but you can change it because you get one body, you get one mind, and you get one life. Get out there and make the most of it.
We get to share it.